G'day, Mike from Aussie Mike's Bees, out on a swarm catch. And I've just been trimming this little bush back to make room to stick this fold-up laundry basket in. So it's just sitting in this little bottle brush bush here, and I've trimmed away a whole bunch of branches. And what I want to do is get this little pop-up laundry basket under them. I'll see what I can do single-handedly. And I haven't got my tripod and camera with me this time. So you can see that pops up like that. I've been using this a fair bit this season. It's been really handy. You can see a bit of wax formed in the bottom from some. And so the idea is that I get this underneath there, give it a good shake, and then I can zip the top up to hold them in. And then I just take them home in the back seat of the car and transfer them into a box at the other end. Necessity being the mother of invention, I had to get something to hold the phone up because I forgot to bring any tripod or anything. So I got my cone here and cut a little slot out of it to put my phone in that. So that's what I'm going to hold it so you can see all the action with this laundry basket capture. So here we go. Not totally ideal because often I've got it so I can come right up around them, but I'm going to see how we go dropping them in by giving this a good shake. Some will get out. Let's get these straps to the outside. These are a fairly flimsy net, but boy, they're good at just housing the bees till I get them home. All right, I think we're set. Give these guys a good shake. Hopefully it'll all go as according to plan. Now I just zip them up. A few of them get out. So you can see there's some on the outside, because some of them fell down on the ground there because we didn't get a perfect capture. I want to look, and I'll leave the basket here for a bit. If I've got the queen on the inside, they'll all gather around that basket. So I'm just going to let them do their thing. What they do, you can see it already, is they like to climb. So they're all climbing up, and that starts weighing it down. So what I'm going to do now is just lay it on its side a bit, otherwise it sort of will end up collapsing. And while they're in the shade, they'll be in good condition. And then once I'm done, as I'll show you in a bit, I'll let those bees settle there, and they will probably just gather all around the outside. That's what they tend to do. There's a drone sitting there on the outside. Nice sized colony. See, they're all gathering around the outside. So it makes me think I'm pretty confident that I've got the queen on the inside. Up towards that end, the way they're all going. So I'm just going to leave them there for the next few minutes. This is a few minutes later. They're still gathering around the basket. Now I've put that cone there because what just happened a few minutes ago was that they climb to the top. It's a bee's nature, like especially a swarm, but any colony will just want to climb up. So what they did was climbed up to the top, and that made it top heavy, and it rolled over out into the sun. So I've put it back in the shade, and I've just put that cone there to stop it rolling again. And plenty of bees still in the air, and I'll just leave it. I'll give it 10 more minutes, and they should be drawn to the queen pheromone then, and I'll pop them in the car and we'll head home. So some of you might have seen this strategy used before. I've seen it early Northern Hemisphere spring. There was a YouTuber, and I can't remember the guy's name, but I thought that's a good idea. Now, interestingly, I couldn't find any of these things in Australia. I looked, but I don't shop that much, so I had a look around at the general sites and couldn't find them. So I ended up going to AliExpress, picked up a couple and got them in, and waited for spring. So spring's been with us since the middle of August with the first swarms, and I've used this thing quite a few times now. And unfortunately the zip's not bulletproof on them. It's sort of the first one I did a couple of weeks ago. I'll show a bit of footage of what happened in that later in this, the blooper roll. But I went to zip them up after I bounced them in, and the zip just fell apart. It wouldn't seal. I thought, oh God, it was a real mess. And they were slightly nasty bees. Usually swarms don't sting, but sometimes they do, and this one did. So your normal way of doing this would be to stick a box under them with frames and a couple of frames out, and just shake them in, and then put the lid on, and then let all the other ones crawl in. And that works pretty good. Sometimes you've got to wait a little longer than you might have time for. Like I did one job where it was looking like rain at any second, so you've got to move a bit quicker than you might otherwise like to. And sometimes they just won't move into the box. I've had them all pile out of the box. For some reason, they just didn't like that box. So they piled out, and I was stuck. I had to try another way to catch them. So that's the nature of bees, of course. But I've had, even with that fail that I just described, where the zip didn't seal up, I got my other one and put it over the end of it and closed them in that way, and still got them home. And that colony's still doing real good right now. I checked on them only yesterday. So this is Monday, and so yesterday, Sunday, I checked the hives, and they've drawn out a ton of comb already, and that was only 2 weeks ago. So they're doing great guns. And so you could do the box. I've vacuumed them up, as I think I've got a bit of video of vacuuming bees up from when they're wrapped around a tree. But when you can bounce them like this, it's so easy. So I just got that laundry basket in there, the bee catching basket. It's so easy to carry in the car. You saw how small it was when it's packed up, and 2 little hooks and it releases, and you've got a full size. You can get a pretty big colony from that. And I haven't gone oversize. I'll show you what I do with it when I get home, and to prepare them to put into a box. And even putting them into a box is pretty painless. So I recommend you give this a try. I know these laundry baskets are readily available in the US, and they're cheap. So go grab one and give it a go for your next season. Of course, October you're all closing down, doing your end of season shutdown period, but hopefully I'll bring a few more of these to keep you entertained while you're going quiet for the winter. Anyway, I'll check these bees out and see if they're ready to move. So it's been about 15 minutes. Normally what happens is all the outside ones just settle down calmly all around the cluster that's on the inside. But these ones don't seem to be calming down a lot. There's a lot of activity around the outside. So that's a bit unusual, but you learn something new all the time. Things never go fully according to plan, but it's no big deal for me. You can see On the inside, the cluster's nicely formed up around one end, and there's, even on the inside, there's some that are still quite agitated. There's still quite a few bees up in the air. Not as many as there were, but still quite a few. But they haven't been forming back on that branch where they were. So I'm confident I've got the queen. And so I'm just going to pick these up gently and put them in the car. So it comes with this handle, 2 handles. And as long as I move nice and slow, and just like all things with bees, you just want to be as gentle as you can. They appreciate gentle behaviour. So now I'm clear. So you can see all those bees still on the outside and the bees down the middle. I want to get those in the shade of the car pronto. And over the course of the drive, they will all climb up to the top. So they're all a-buzzing. You might be thinking, what am I going to do about all the bees that are loose? Well, that's just part of beekeeping. Sorry about the video going on here, it's not real good. I'll just hook that strap over the seat. And I don't want it to pop off. Sorry girls. It'd be good if the strap was just a little bit longer, but I've got that well secured now. That'll hang there, and already we're climbing up to the top. See that? So got a bunch of bees on the outside. They're going to start missing out, but I will open the window and drive the window open. So I'm just going to get the car started. So I just collect my tools. I've got my cone, my new fancy camera tripod. Pop that away in the back of the car. Just close up top there. And bees are buzzing all around the outside there. And I'll just start the car. Partly so I can wind down back window there so they've got ventilation, and I'll lose some bees for sure. But most of them are going to be with me, and I just keep wearing the suit inside because I don't need a sudden unexpected sting. And my hair's been quite a while since I've had it cut. You might have heard about all these crazy Australian lockdowns. And well, I guess as a beekeeper, I'm essential services. Biosecurity, safety, all that sort of stuff. So I don't know, you can just see the basket there. I'll get moving. I've got the aircon on, but it needs the breeze to be coming through to keep them happy. And I'll wind the window up a little bit. And what I find is then the bees just settle down. All the loose bees will just settle down. So I've got the window up a bit there, and now I'll just head home looking a bit weird in a bee outfit, but pretty common. I think people get used to me looking like this around here. And so it's about maybe 25 minutes, 30 minutes drive to get home. And then what I do is I hang that basket upside down once I get home on a stand that I use with a rod through a couple of loops, and then they all climb up to that level. And what that does is allow me to unzip the lid, which is now on the bottom, easily, and there's no bees there. And then I put them on top of the box, and I'll show you this when I get to the other end, of course. School kids. Just drove past the school and they're all looking at me. Where was I? So then I can just start to collapse the spring to bring the bees that are all up the top down as close as possible to the box with frames in it, and then just give it a little gentle shake and they fall in, and pretty much they go straight in there, and it's really good. I really love this technique. Anyway, if I've got something else to say, I'll fire up again, but otherwise see you at the other end. Okay, that was about a 25-minute drive, and I drove with the window a little bit down for ventilation mainly. I found that the bees take the trip a lot better if they've got some air flowing. But I've backed in, and you can see just here there's some fanning going on the outside there. Not as many bees as we started with. I did see some of them going out the window, but they're all quite calm now. So what I'm going to do is, because this strap is really on that headrest quite tight, I've got to be super gentle so I don't bounce them. And so I just carefully get that off, and I'll just put my finger on the other side, and we got them. And now I've got to try and do this one-handed just so you can see. So you can see the ones on the outside, and they've calmed right down. Some of the bees will stay inside there a bit, so I'm going to leave that door open. And you see how they've climbed, well, it's mostly up the side there, so I'll just spin that around. Big clump up the top, and they're all up one side. So this is where, excuse my mess in the shed, this is where I'm going to turn it upside down as I was describing earlier, and hang it. So I'm going to hang it on this little frame here and use the rod sitting on there to go through these loops. So I'll get onto that. So we just do a little bit of thread the needle work. Thread through that loop. There we go. Shoot through to the other side. And get through that loop. And now I just quietly, so they're already at the other end, so they're not going to bounce. There'll be a bit of a rolling action go as they sort of slide down the bottom. And then I just hook it on like that. Let's grab you now. So, and now I just gently let that See if you can see that. Now they're just hanging upside down. We're in the shed and it's shady, it's quite cool. Outside it's 29 degrees Celsius, so it's a warmish day. And you can even see now they started to climb up again. So they're all on the inside, climbing up. They just love to be up the top. And it's also an opportunity to see if I can see the queen and see if she climbs up there too. It's not easy to see through the mesh. Actually, it looks easier through the camera than it does in life. But I'm pretty certain I've got the queen. So they've been sitting here for about 10 minutes. And there's still a bunch on the outside, which is good. They haven't all climbed to the top, but enough for this to happen. So I'm going to bring them down now and put them in the box. So the ones on the outside that are flying are just following with me. So you can see reasonably nicely clustered up the top, but as before also down there. But given the size of the colony, still a pretty good result. So I've just set up this box with some frames in it, mostly new frames, but I did find a couple of old ones. So I've just taken the inner cover and the lid off, as you've seen. Now they're all still pretty calm. So now I've just got to try to manipulate this smoothly again. Now there are a bunch of bees on the bottom, so they're going to start coming out straight away, but the bulk of them are up the top. So I'll try to make this as smooth, which is easy said. It'd be handy to have that second set of hands. And by unzipping that, leaves and crap fall out, so that doesn't go inside the hive, which is good. And I just manipulate these handles, the basket handles over, and now I just lower it a bit gently to get the bulk of them down near it. And already the ones down near the bottom are climbing in. Now the bulk of the basket covers the frames, so I'm just going to give it a quick little bounce to get the bulk of them in. Now most of them are sitting on top of the frames now, so I'm just going to I don't need this rod. I'm just going to stay here for a bit. I don't want to lift this off because there's still a lot of bees in there, and I'm just watching them go into the frames. Oh, beautiful. I think they'll like this. Now I'm going to give them a bit more shake to get another bulk lay down there. And already that's springing up more now because most of the weight's off it. So the ones that I bounced in there, because I'm leaving the basket there, they can't fly out straight away. So they just start climbing down into the frames. So I'll give a bit more shaking. That's looking good. They're just sinking down into the frames, just what I want them to do. There's even a little bit of fanning going on. And the bulk of them are already in the frames. I'm going to lift this off. I'll give it a bit more of a shake. Then I'm going to get the inner cover on. I'm just going to lie that over there. And just gently at an angle. There's a lot of fanning going on, so I think they like this. And that's it. You can see a bit of activity. There's always going to be bees flying around when you do this. They're spilling out a little bit from the top. I could close that off, but I'm wanting them to get the smell. And I can see around the front that there's a few looking out, going back in. So I'm going to leave that in the cover open, as in I'm not going to close off the hole, the feed hole, just so any bees that are on the outside here can get in. And I'm going to close that off. And that's it. I'll leave the basket there for a little while for the stragglers to come out. And then I reckon these bees will start fanning a little bit from the front, and that'll draw them in. So over the course of an hour or two, I reckon they'll all be in there. So that's how it's done with the trusty laundry basket. I recommend you give it a go. Beekeeping, it's an obsession.